Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Football Inc. How are you? I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love with those you love to do them with. It is, what day is it today? Is it Thursday? I think it's Thursday. It is Thursday, and we are back. It's been a week, nearly a week. Well, I feel like we haven't done too much on the Football Inc. the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks. I was out sick for a week after Arsenal, and then the last 4 or 5 days, obviously, Johnny's been away for a few days, so we haven't been doing too much. But I hope you guys are I hope you've missed us. I hope you've missed us, and you'll give us another chance. One more chance. Guys, what is going on? What a week of Champions League football. Everyone thinking that Tottenham were the embarrassing team. I'm not sure that's settled science. Manchester City dropping 3 goals away at Real Madrid. It can happen. How about Sporting Lisbon? 3 goals away at the perennial underdog, the perennial team that is always, I don't know, dismissed to other teams' perils. Bodo Glimt getting 3 past Sporting. Big up to them. Our second club, my Helga. And we've also got Chelsea giving up 3 goals in the last 10 minutes against PSG. You know, there's lots of things to chew through. Arsenal stealing a penalty, and still
as per usual, Sean.
As per, and still only getting a point, or not a point, but an away draw away at Leverkusen. We're going to talk about all of it right now, guys. Smash the like, smash the subscribe. Notification button should be squeezed. Comments should be dropped. We are, of course, sponsored by OK Jersey. You know what to do. 8% off at checkout using code FINK, although I am in discussions to get it to 15% off. So, listen, what I would suggest with regards OK Jersey, I've been in discussions with my man over there. They're kind of utilizing me as some sort of marketing ideas guy. They want to know what it is that you guys want. They can create anything that you want, anything at all. So if there's retro shirts, if you want to get hold of a 61 replica, if you want to get hold of an 84 replica, if it's the Sunny shirt from Los Angeles FC, if it's retro Jeremy Jacquet, whatever it is that you think would be popular, they
Your
are
Lionel
more than
Messi's.
happy.
Your Lionel
Whatever.
Messi's into Miami, that sort of stuff. You know, whatever it is.
They can make it all. So just let us know what it is you want, and I'll pass it on, and it will be done in a couple of days. This is how clever and fast these people move. But for the time being, you can get 8% off using code FINK at checkout. Big up to them. Big up to you lot for all of your support in that regard, keeping the sponsorship going. And don't forget also, guys, we are available on your podcast platforms, right? We're on Apple Pods, Apple, Amazon. We're on Spotify. You can watch us back. So make sure you give us a follow and a rating and a like over there. Johnny, how are you, my man? Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, not bad, mate. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm knackered. I've done 37 or 38,000 steps. I left on Monday morning. I was up at 5. I think I left about 5, 6 o'clock. I was up at 5, left at 6. And got back late last night. I felt like I've walked. Beautiful city, Madrid. One of the best cities in Europe. Much nicer than Barcelona. Yeah, it's a beautiful city.
Yeah? I've never been to Madrid.
Fourth time there. I've never seen us win. I saw us lose in the final.
Stop bloody going there, you donut.
I saw us lose with Harry when I had the pleasure of actually going on the players' plane with Bale and Modric, like when we had a proper team, and we lost there when old Crouchy got sent off trying to make 2 challenges he's never made, and the one after that. But it's a beautiful city. Atletico, the Metropolitan area, Metropolitan Stadium, fantastic stadium, Sean. You can understand why it's holding events. The atmosphere was fantastic. But as a Spurs fan right now, mate, honestly, it's more painful than being Bonnie Blue, mate. Because, like, she takes
I'm not sure she finds it painful, mate. I think she
takes it and gets paid for it, right? I take it and I have to pay for it.
Yeah, you're chasing S&M escorts, mate. That's what you're doing.
Honestly, it's painful. But, you know... It was dramatic. It was dramatic. And that's the thing about our club, Sean. I mean, we'll go on to all the games, obviously, but our club keeps rewriting history. Even just when you think that nothing more could happen to the club to rewrite the history, we did it. I think this is the first time in 13 years that a club has gifted 4 like gift goals in one game since about, I think it was 2012, I think it was, or 2013, something like it. Might even been earlier than that. A goalkeeper going off after 14, 15 minutes that should never have started. Listen, I was looking at some of the Atletico Madrid fans and they didn't even know what to do when he was coming off. And then he got a manager that he couldn't even admit he'd made the mistake, couldn't even look at the player. Spurs players running down the tunnel, mate. There was a lot of anger. A lot of people walked out at 3-0. A lot of people fighting each other, screaming, arguments going on. It's not what you want to see at any club, really. But I've got to say, I felt a little bit cheered up actually on the way back. I got a lot of messages from Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool, League. I got all sorts of messages from fans of other clubs from my walkout video, sort of with a bit of empathy, Sean, which was quite surprising. West Ham fans bantering just when we thought we were bad. You've topped us all, you know, that sort of stuff. But Arsenal fans saying they don't want us to go down. And Tudor is a muppet.
Who's saying they don't want us to go down?
Some Arsenal fans saying they'll miss the rivalry.
They're winding you up, mate. They'd love us to go down. It'd be the best season they've ever had.
Listen, it was mixed, mate. Listen, don't get me wrong. I got plenty of them.
Yeah,
I got plenty of them. But it's interesting because I think a lot of other clubs, you know, neutral fans, maybe not London rivals, can see what these owners or these current incumbents, ENIC 2.0, have done to the club. And quite honestly, they are to blame for the misery that Spurs fans are suffering right now, because I don't believe there was any need for us to be in the situation that we're in. Sure, we're poor. They rolled the dice, Sean. They had a massive gamble in January and thought, you know what? We ain't going down. Let's not bother. What we'll do is we'll sell our winger and we'll not replace him. And we'll buy a midfielder. And we lost, was it 5 players in the January to injury? I think it was 5. We didn't supplement any of it.
And in the first week of February as well, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah, it's been a monumental cock-up of misfortune compounded by bad decision-making. You know, like sometimes you think, oh, this is bad luck, but it's almost like Lady Luck has gone, you've taken the piss by chancing your luck, and now we're gonna show you the consequences of doing that. Even to the point where, I mean, listen, I have to feel a little bit. I don't like Igor Tudor, right? I've got no time for his. I call them all as I see them, mate. I didn't have a stake going. I didn't have a dog in the fight going into him. I was like, I don't know, just see what he does. Like the club think, you know, Paratici rates him or whatever. But I haven't found any reason to hang my hat on him. I don't like his personality in the press conferences. He's a horrible guy to interview. Clearly, the players aren't getting on board with him. But you have to also kind of just like, you know, shake hands a little bit. I suppose the point of one of the conversations I was having earlier on was like, I think that Tottenham fans right now are just like, everyone's universally looking at all of the things we're in control of and saying like, it's just horrendous, right? And it's true. But there's also other things that are outside of your control that don't help. And the injury crisis is obviously a thing that people are kind of
huge.
It's been such a long time and such a common theme that it's no longer part of the zeitgeist because it's been discussed. And so now it's just like, it is what it is. In the 94th minute on Tuesday night, you know, Romero and Polina crash heads, and both of them hit themselves so hard that they both come off before the end of the game, which means that they're technically, even if they're fine today, they might be. No, I don't know. They might be. They might not be. But even if they're fine, I'm pretty sure the concussion protocol from the Champions League runs into the Premier League. So there's every chance that even if they're absolutely fine, that they won't be allowed to play in the Liverpool game, and they won't be allowed to play in the Madrid game in the week after,
or the Forest game potentially,
or the Forest game, which is probably the biggest game of the three. Well, it is the biggest game of the three. You know?
Yeah. I mean, listen, look,
like you can't like that. That's not an Igor Tudor thing. That's not even a Daniel Levy thing. That's not an Enoch thing. That's just a bad luck thing. When everything's going against you, like you're just kind of going, come on, like give us a fucking break, bro.
And Mickey van der Ven. So we're going to Liverpool. No Mickey van der Ven, sent off, suspended. No Paulinho. No Cuti Romero. The whole back line's gone. It's like one thing after the other. But listen, I've got to talk about the pitch, Sean, right? Because obviously I wasn't aware of the pitch situation beforehand, right? Because I didn't research it because I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah,
but
same.
After I put in search about the pitch, I asked Grok, and then all of a sudden, all this shit came up. I see Koke. They laid a new pitch in end of November, and Koke, the Atletico Madrid captain, turned around and said the pitch is an absolute disgrace. We've had so much rain, it's not working. Players are slipping all over the place. Now, begs the question, right? I thought, yeah, but they're complaining about, well, why didn't they slip? Forewarned is forearmed, right? So maybe they wore a longer stud. Maybe they did. So then I watched the Barcelona game where they absolutely smashed Barcelona 4-0. Bearing in mind, when they came to the new camp, they beat them 3-0 and they dominated Atletico. They weren't even in the game. But Barcelona were literally slipping all over the place. And the goalkeeper made a horrendous mistake that led to a goal. It could have been more. And I think to myself, well, hang on a minute. Where was the due diligence? Where was the research from Tottenham Hotspur? You know, you're going to play Atletico Madrid.
Clearly non-existent.
Clearly non-existent, right? Right, okay,
but
guys.
Not even that, Johnny. It begs the question, after 5 minutes, you've conceded the first goal from the goalkeeper slipping.
Correct.
In the period between the first and the second goal coming in, Richarlison slipped and Pape Sarr slipped. Right? Non-eventful, but still slipped. Second goal happens, Mickey van der Ven slips.
Yeah.
Right? Third goal happens, goalkeeper slips again. Right? At no point did anyone go in the period where you're going, can we well, we're going to replace Vicario, or we're going to replace Kinski. That's a couple of minutes. Where's the kit man? Where's the kit man? Who's got the spare boots? Who's got the long studs? They didn't change their studs the entire game, Johnny. So it begs the question: did anyone think to bring us a long set of studs? And also, whose job is it to remember to bring the studs? I mean, the players aren't even trusted to bring their own passport. So who is it that's responsible for bringing the studs, and who is it that's responsible for identifying what studs are required? It might be two different people. Maybe the players are responsible for choosing the studs that they use, but maybe it's not the players that carry the spare studs. But they didn't change their studs. They didn't change the studs for 90 minutes.
Well, second half we didn't slip so much. But the first thing
they didn't change their studs. They didn't change their studs, Johnny.
Well, we don't know if they changed them at half time because we didn't slip anywhere near.
We did slip a lot in the second half as well. Not as much, not as catastrophically, not as noticeable, maybe. But
tell me something. If you were the captain and you saw every player going over, your players going over, your keeper, I mean, that bobble for Kinski when he went to kick it was very similar to what happened to the Barcelona keeper when he made the mistake, right? My point is, if you were captain, or I was captain, I'd be going up to the referee and saying, mate, this pitch is a disgrace. You can't play on it. Our players can't stand up. We're going to get injured. What is going on? Why are we going over? Like, all our players are going on. Richarlison was in front of the goal before they scored their first. He went to go and kick the ball and slipped over. That's right. Yeah.
Oblak's passing was horrendous.
Yeah,
maybe because his planted foot was slipping as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's all if buts and maybes, Johnny. But like, I think what you're getting at, and I'm going to agree with you in summary, is once again it looks like there was no planning, no forethought, not like that sort of shit wouldn't happen at Art. The attention to detail at the teams at the top of the world football is impeccable. And for teams like Tottenham, when everything's going against them, what you need is to make sure that you're erring on the side of caution, that, just in case things go a certain way, that someone at the football club is thinking about these things, and they're clearly not. And then on Tuesday night, once again, when you plan to fail, or failing to plan is planning to fail, isn't it?
Well, listen, look, if I'd have been the guy doing the scouting for Atletico Madrid, they beat Barcelona 4-0. Need to look at that game, see where their strengths were. You would have watched that game and just said, well, hang on a minute, what the fuck's going on here? They're falling over every 2 seconds. They won 4-0. They couldn't stand up. Let's look into that. Why was that? You've only got to look at it. You should see Atletico Madrid's players complaining about it, but they understand it. So they would have taken extra measures to negate that slip. So yes, they were slipping, but nowhere near the extent we were. And it caught us completely off guard, completely. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I don't think I've ever seen a 22 minutes of football like that in my life. I don't think I've been so enraged. I know we had the Newcastle game where we were shocking, but to see 4 goals, to see your goalkeeper subbed after like 18 minutes, the players walked down the tunnel after him. He lost the players that day, right? That night, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. To blank him, and then the 3 Gallagher, Paulinho, and Solanke all marched down the tunnel with Kinski. But listen, I don't think Atletico Madrid are a good team. I think for sure.
Is the game over?
Well, you'd have to think so, wouldn't you? I don't think they're very good, Sean. I think we could have scored goals.
I think they're great. I think after, as soon as we went 4-0 down, because I tell you, you wouldn't know this, but like I was doing my watch along, Johnny, and my internet crashed, and then I had a VPN on that was logging me into Drew Zilla's account in Kansas, and obviously when the internet crashed, when it kicked back in, the VPN hadn't kicked back in, and then the stream I was utilizing recognized that I wasn't in Kansas, whatever, and then just blocked my IP or whatever, so I couldn't get back in. So I then had to switch to a different computer. Then the whole computer crashed. But this was at 2-0. The whole thing took me 3 minutes to turn it back on, 3 or 4 minutes. By the time I got back in, I was like, what's going on? It was now 4-0 and Vicario was on the pitch. I was like, what has just gone on in the last 5 minutes? But from that point on, I ended the stream because the whole thing was going crazy, and I watched the stream by myself. From that moment on, I thought we were the better team. I know, arguably, like it was like they sat back and we had chances after chance. We had Romero hitting the post. Porro scored. I thought Porro had a good game, generally speaking, playing as a right wing back for the first time.
Porro was their best. Porro was probably the best player on the pitch for us that night. But listen, look, Griezmann and Alvarez were pulling us apart all over the place. Griezmann, even at his age, but they were vulnerable. They are not the Simeone team that grounds out a 1-0 win, like has gone on for such a long time. They've always been that team. Now they're more offensive minded, but they're much weaker in defence. I've got to be honest with you.
Can we get, because we won't need to score 3 goals. 3 goals takes it to extra time and penalties, mate. But if you're playing Vicario, the penalty shootout is a fait accompli. So you're going to need to score 4 goals at Tottenham. When was the last time Tottenham scored 4 goals at home?
Nah, listen, mate. We struggled to score 1 goal at home. Look, the fact of the matter is they weren't impressive. They looked weak at the back. Mawani was a disgrace yet again. Some of his play was just shocking. I thought Pedro Porro's goal, Richie held the ball up, lovely pass along the side. First touch from Porro was superb, banged it in. Look, I didn't think they were great. We had chances, but I think 3 goals is a bit too much. But you've seen it happen before. You've seen it happen before.
Yeah, you need an early goal. You need a very early goal, and then you'd need
a sending off.
Yeah, you need something crazy to happen. It's not going to. It's not going to happen. Even if it does happen, then we're going to meet one of the next.
We got no defense. Yeah, we got no defense anyway. So anyway, look, let's move on
to the next game. Newcastle Barcelona.
Well, Newcastle were fantastic.
Fantastic. Absolutely
They
fantastic.
really were absolutely fantastic. And let's be honest, of all the teams in the Champions League this week, Newcastle were head and shoulders above everybody else. They turned up against a really good Barcelona team. The Hansi Flick has got, he's got them playing fantastic football. To limit them to that late Lamine Yamal goal in the 96th minute, the penalty, was something else, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but Newcastle have got this about them at home where they just, when that home, Newcastle Stadium, Newcastle fans, when they're in the mood, Newcastle are a team that feed off their 12th man, and their home fans will always provide it. Can they go to Barcelona without the big home support and get a result, or is it going to be sort of like, I don't know, a little bit like the way that PSG always PSG, every time I see PSG, it always seems to be the same thing, Johnny, against the European team. They always seem to be a slow starter, and then by the end of the 90 minutes, in the last 20 minutes, PSG come alive. We'll come to their game in a minute, but can Barcelona can Newcastle go to PSG? Sorry, I can't speak. Can Barcelona go to? Jesus,
can Newcastle
go to Barcelona and get a 1-goal win or a 2-1 victory?
Look,
can they do it away in Barcelona?
I think the bench was quite rich that they didn't start. They had Gavi, Dani Olmo, Casado, Ferran Torres, Marcus Rashford, and Eric Garcia, all on the bench in that game. Not to say they didn't start with a decent team. They've got quite a few injuries, but can they produce the away result? We've seen with Newcastle absolutely support, the incredible support at home. It's fantastic, but when they go away from home, they found themselves a bit lacking. Personally, I'd love to see a Premier League team go through. But also in the back of my mind, I want to have a team that's got half a chance of beating Arsenal. And I believe that team that's got half a chance of beating Arsenal is actually Barcelona. Yeah. More so than them. But defensively, Barca been a bit suspect recently. But look, I think they've got every chance, mate. They got every chance. The one thing is, look, we've been saying it here. The Premier League football, Sean, I'm not quite sure what's going on, mate. I've not enjoyed the Premier League this year. Forget me being a Spurs fan. I love football, which is why we got Football Inc. here. I watch a lot of games. And just the quality of football, it's just too many set pieces, too much strategic football. There doesn't seem that expressionist football where a player like a Gascoigne, I can imagine a player like Paul Gascoigne coming into this team would be falling out with managers left, right and centre because he didn't stick to the system and where he's supposed to be playing. Sure. And it's too rigid. And I
hear you, mate, but do you know what? Not to get back on the Tottenham game, like obviously you look at the results, right? And you're absolutely right. 4 of the 6 teams of the English teams, like 6 teams made it into the final 16 of the Champions League. 6 of them were from England, right? Unbelievable. Yeah. 39%, whatever it is. Unbelievable amount of teams getting in. 4 of those 6 look like they're out of the competition already.
Correct.
Like Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool potentially, and
Man City.
Sorry, yeah, exactly, right. And then maybe Liverpool get back in. Maybe Newcastle United get back in. Who's the other one? Sorry, and Arsenal probably go through, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's the question. The question mark is why is it that 6 teams get through, but 4 of them look like they're out against not necessarily massively stronger opposition? Did they abdicate their strategies of set piece FC? Because I'm not being funny. In the Tottenham game, which is the game that I watched most religiously, most closely, Tottenham had chances. Like when Romero gets that corner, when Romero hits that header, and he hits the post from a corner kick, I'm like, and I think the commentators were saying the same thing. You know what? European teams are not set up to know how to handle this. The referee might step in and stop this thing going on, right? Because all the pushing and shoving. But as long as he doesn't stop it, then Tottenham have a chance to utilize it.
Yeah, because they're still playing football, right?
That was the only corner kick that we got. We got several corner kicks. That was the only one where we did that thing. And I was like, why are we doing that thing?
The thing is, I want to see football. My love is for football. My love is not for set piece FC. My love is not if you move outside of that quadrant, the manager's going to go, it's going to go mental, right? Because you didn't stay in that quadrant and you didn't move in that. Like, sometimes you've got to read the game for yourself and express yourself in the game of football. And that's why I love watching the Barcelonas and the Real Madrids and other teams in Europe, because I just feel our game's been stifled. Yes, we got some high scoring games, but I just don't feel like it's the same football as I watched, 2 or 3 years ago. I just feel like we're progressing into something else, which I'm not really a fan of. Arsenal are walking away with the league this season, but it's not pretty football. It's grind out football. It's not really for me. And I wonder whether or not, that expressionist football. I mean, listen, no one will move on to there. We've just done Newcastle. So look, Newcastle have got a good chance. But listen, let's move on to the Man City Real Madrid game. No one expected Arbeloa to get his Real Madrid team to absolutely be on fire. No Rodrigo goes. He's out for the season. They could have been out of sight, mate. Could have been 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It really could. I mean,
awful,
a terrible
awful,
penalty.
Absolutely awful. Yeah.
Terrible penalty, but they were cut open. They were like, honestly, they were like Swiss cheese. That many holes in their defenses. It was like they were toying. It's like how a cat toys with a mouse. That's how it was. And, when was the last time you saw that, Sean? Seriously. And Pep afterwards, do you have a chance? Not really. We'll give it a go. It's like, I've never seen anything like it.
He's completely checked out, mate. He's leaving, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, where was the rage? Where was the rage when you've just been done 3-0 and you're asked that question, are you still in it?
I think he knows. I think he knows that I think he's leaving at the end of the season, and I think he's kind of a little bit. I don't know. I think he's maybe a little bit checked out a little bit. I think you're right.
What a terrible way to check out in the most illustrious career, to watch Arsenal win the title. You steam out the Champions League, and then they got the final of the Carabao Cup coming up. God help us if they lose that as well. I mean, Arsenal fans would be intolerable. They're intolerable as it is. But look, what happened to the free-flowing, incredible football that we saw under Pep? And let's be honest, you remember when Manchester City fans said, you know what, we wanted Harry Kane, but we've done better. We've got Haaland, right? We never needed Kane. We got Haaland. He's a better player. If Haaland doesn't score, it's like playing with 10 men. That's what I feel about Erling Haaland, personally. Whereas if you're not scoring goals, having someone like Harry Kane in your team who can drop into the midfield and, push balls left, right, and centre, playing players in, spraying it across the park. Haaland can't do that. That's not who he is or what he is. And I just feel like Man City, they bought some really good players as individuals. Semenya, Mark Gahey, Mamouche, Cherki, Haaland. They roll off the tongue. Foden. Yet as a collective, they're not the races as a team. So I'm not quite sure what's gone on there, but they were nearly humiliated. They were already embarrassed. One would say, oh, it's not an embarrassment losing to Real Madrid, but it is probably losing 3-0 to that Real Madrid team who haven't been that good of late. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I feel like look, Manchester City are a team that just seem like they're usually the team that has it in them to always fight back. They always feel like a team that you never write off, right? And I think history has proven that they're a team that if they're 3 points behind, 6 points behind, 9 points behind, you don't write off the season for them generally.
Yeah.
This version of Manchester City, I don't feel like they have that. And I feel like when you compound that with everything going Arsenal's way, like every 50-50, every like
yellow
decision,
card, red
like
card,
the yellow card, red card, the penalties that they're getting, the favorable decisions from the referees.
the favourable draws,
exactly, the favourable draws. Everything has gone Arsenal's way to the point where I think if you were a Man City player, Man City fan, whatever, you're just looking at it and just kind of going, it just feels like the energy of the kind of ether. Like it's all saying it's their time, it's their turn, and I feel like that sort of stuff can be, empowering a little bit, or overpowering, not empowering, overpowering. We're going to talk about their game in a second. That like for me, that penalty is a fucking disgrace.
What a joke!
Disgrace. But before we get to them, that's just like one of 30 examples in 2026 alone where you could point to where you go, how is it that they get every single thing going in their direction? Like
quickly on penalty, Schultz. I'm sorry, just going to say, Vinicius Junior's penalty, that was a disgrace, wasn't it? There was a guy who just thought he was walking up and just gonna put it in the nonchalance of it.
Yeah.
Should they go out, they'll look back on that. I said before when I saw it, because I didn't know the score, I said, you know what, he's going to miss that. Look at his attitude when he's taking that penalty.
If the goalkeeper dives the other direction, it looks class, right? It's one of those things where it's like the guy who tries
not Vicario, mate. He thought he was up against Vicario.
No, I hear you, but I'm just saying, like like when you see a goal, when you see a striker, a penalty taker doing the Panenka, right, doing the little chip. If it goes in, everyone's like, look at the stones on the guy. Look at the absolute gall. What a hero! Like the stakes couldn't be higher, and he does that, and everyone just applauds him. But if it goes wrong, if the goalkeeper waits for it and just catches it, then it's your hero or zero.
Does he do that at 0-0 though? Does he do that at 0-0 or 1-0? I don't think so.
No, probably not. Probably not. But yeah, it was stupid, absolutely stupid. But like I say, it was the goalkeeper went the right direction. And for most goalkeepers who actually don't who haven't got a poker tell like our goalkeeper does, then they can pick right 30% of the time, So it's one of those things. But like I say, yeah, for me, Manchester City, I feel like they feel like it just doesn't feel the same for me. Manchester City this year, everything about Pep Guardiola feels like he's checked out. It feels like he's going to quit at the end. I'd be very, very surprised if he stays. I
think the players are checked out as well. Bernardo Silva.
They're waiting for the next iteration, aren't they? They know that he's done. Okay, let Arsenal have this one because everything's going their direction anyway. Whatever, yada yada yada. Yeah. And I also think, by the way, that the rest of the Premier League, and I know that was a non-Premier League game, but the rest of the Premier League are more tuned. They're more like highly tuned to playing the sort of football that does win those margins. Even though you and I agree that we hate the football that's materializing, Manchester City are still trying to play traditional football, and that's why that they are maybe more beatable than the highest finely tuned versions of like Arsenal that have quality comparability, but are doing it in a way where they're fighting and they're winning the set pieces and all that stuff. And every other team is sort of adjusting to that version of football. City are still trying to play pure football, and it's not working as often. Like smaller teams are able to take points off of City. Tottenham did it. This version of Tottenham, this horrendous version of Tottenham that I've lost. The last time we got a fucking point, Johnny, was against Manchester City, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it?
4 points. This club got 4 points against Man City. Can't beat anyone else. I mean,
you know what I mean, right? Nottingham Forest, another team that's on the brink of relegation, go and get a well-earned point against City. That stuff doesn't happen against Arsenal. Maybe it's because Man City are still trying to play pure football in a game where the football world has pivoted. But I don't know. For me, mate, yeah, like this season is going Arsenal's way. I think there's a combination of people giving up and also a little bit of lady luck favouring everything Arsenal do. And maybe possibly just maybe agendas being played out, mate. We heard that we know that Masters, the Premier League chairman, said don't know why he said it, ridiculous, but he said they want a new Premier League chairman every 5 years. And you know what? We haven't had one really for a long time. So
champion. Yeah.
Sorry, Premier League champion. Sorry. Yeah.
It's looking that way. Let's quickly do PSG versus Chelsea. And let's be honest, like last season, PSG weren't playing great, scraped through the last minute in the qualifiers to get through. And we weren't sure what version we were going to get against the World Club champions last night. But it was a tight affair. 2-1. I was very surprised. How do you say his name?
I call him Cratch.
I have a scratch. I was very surprised he didn't start. I was also, they thought, Chelsea thought, you know what, we're going to drop Sanchez and we're going to play Jorgensen. And that one turned out to be a great decision as well. I mean, it seemed like calamity goalkeeper, Champions League week. I mean, Jorgensen making mistakes, Oblak making mistakes, and Kinski. When it was 2-1, I was on the plane, and it was 2-1 to PSG. Barcola with a great goal. And did you see it as Dembele's goal? What a goal, mate. That run.
Class player.
That run from the halfway line, and then he checks back. He's still got two players on him. He checks back and then bangs the ball in. Fantastic goal. When was it Enzo Fernandez, wasn't it? Enzo Fernandez gets the equaliser. You're thinking, well, this could be a shot. This could be it. This Chelsea could be doing it. But when they brought on the Cratch, those two goals completely changed the tide, didn't they? Absolutely changed it. I'm not sure which one. The one from the left-hand side when he bent it in, the right-hand corner. Two late goals. Fantastic stuff, basically. I don't know what you thought of the game, but I don't see Chelsea getting back. The PE teacher, I reckon he could be toast by the end of the season. What are you thinking, Sean?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how how Chelsea fans feel about him. I haven't caught too much of I haven't caught any of the Chelsea fan content, so I don't know if they're furious, angry, embarrassed by what happened. But they were well in the game. Enzo Fernandez, fantastic goal to get them back into the game. 2-2. As I said at the start, I just feel like PSG are one of these teams that. They almost like lure you into a false sense of security. We've experienced them twice this season, one in the Super Cup, one in the Champions League. Both times Tottenham were the better team for the first half. In the Super Cup, it took them until the 85th minute to then, or 80th minute generally to like kick into gear suddenly, bring on some game changers. And we should have seen it through. We didn't. And then they go and beat us on pens. And then in the Champions League, we were banging that game as well for the most part. Away in PSG, we were banging the game. And then all of a sudden, they just dial up to another level and they just walk past you. And they've got players like Vitinha. I mean, that guy, you talk about like world-class players.
Yeah.
I don't know if Vitinha would be considered world-class by it, or he's the first name on most people's lips when you talk about world-class midfielders. But if I'm picking an 11, like a Champions League 11 for FPL, someone like that, he's the first name on my team sheet. That guy is just such an unbelievable player. I think he is top draw. His technicality, his vision, his timing, his cadence, his work rate, and his
top player,
his chemistry, the way he commands. He's so fucking good, Johnny. But I don't think people talk about him as much as they talk about the Declan Rices of the world. They don't talk about him like they talk about the Caicedos or the, insert whichever midfielder, whichever iteration you want. People don't talk about Vitinha in that regard. Some people do, but most people don't.
The problem is, Sean, in that squad.
Absolutely utter fucking tartar, John.
The squad is, I've got to apologise because I got sidetracked with Man City. I never spoke about Valverde's unbelievable hat-trick for them What a captain's performance for Real Madrid. So we got sidetracked there. Apologies. Valverde's performance as captain was absolutely superb. You talk about brilliant midfielders. He absolutely, I mean, two of those goals were absolutely fantastic finishes. Great play. But, you know, going back to PSG, when you look at that squad, it's hard to be, you know, the standout. I mean, I'm looking at the bench. Lucas Hernandez, Zabrami, Kang Ying, Cavachea, Juan Ramos. I mean, you got Barcola, Desiree Doué, Dembele, João Neves. It's hard to be always the standout player of these, because some of these guys are getting the, you know, the limelight, whereas Vitinha, you know, he's very much the engine room, isn't he? Like a Rodri or
I mean, he can drift forward. He can play in the 10. He can play as a deep line. He's so valuable, mate. And it's just, he always pops up. His positional sense, like he doesn't chase the ball. He just sits and waits and finds little pockets of space. And his finishing is sublime. I rate him so much. I would. He's £150 million player. For me, I think he's so fucking good. Like, what he would transform the Premier League, whichever team he would ever cut. If he ever came to the Premier League, I think he's so good, and I don't think he gets enough mention. I think he's unbelievable, actually unbelievable. But yeah, listen. As far as Chelsea go, you asked about whether or not the manager's going to be there. Old Reservoir. I don't know. I think he's. I mean, the Reservoir might run dry a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know what Chelsea fans think of him, because I think Chelsea fans are a funny bunch that. You know, they pivot whichever way the wind is. I haven't seen any content from.
Are they raging today?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't know if they're raging, but you know, did they throw it away? But PSG have got
they conceded 3 goals in 8 minutes? Was it 10 minutes? How many minutes?
But PSG have got this knack of just going up a gear when it matters.
Yeah.
They've done it against us. They've done it against lots of teams. Just when you think they're gone. I mean, as it happens, they started with, as I said, Dembele, Barcola, and Desiree Doué, but they took Kvaratskhelia, didn't start. He comes on and scores 2 game changers, right? They take the tide to another level, and I can't see Chelsea coming back from this personally. That's my opinion. Can't see it at all. What about the Liverpool game?
I didn't actually see it, mate, because I was doing the pre-match, so I don't know. But I watched the last 20 minutes as we were doing the pre-match show for the Tottenham game, and it looked like Liverpool were all at sea. In the 25-30 minutes that I saw of it, I didn't see the first half. I know that Liverpool had a goal that was ruled out. I think Galatasaray had a goal that was ruled. I think Galatasaray could have gone 2-0 up, but it was ruled out. But I'm not sure. I think one of them was offside.
Yeah, I think the couple. But they played them already in September, and they were shocking. They lost 1-0 in that game. Yeah, and they were equally dishevelled in that game. In the highlights and stuff that I watched of them, they weren't impressive. Probably Alonso is waiting in the background there for a summer injection, I would say. Do
you think Arne Slot's going to go in the summer, do you?
It's not looking good, is it, Sean, for him? But surely he has something in the bank after his first season. Some would say that that was Klopp's team and nothing to do with him. I think that's a little bit harsh. But yeah, it
certainly was Klopp's team. It was like that. He didn't bring it. He brought in one player, didn't he? He brought in the little Italian fellow, Chiesa. That was it. I think it was Chiesa.
They bought a lot of players in this season, and they've just not delivered. It's as simple as that. And it'd be interested to see whether this weekend they have one eye on the second leg of this game against Galatasaray, or they're more interested in making sure that they get that top 5 position for the Champions League for next season.
I think they can comfortably handle Tottenham regardless of the team they put out, mate, to be honest.
Correct, because we got half our team missing. Galatasaray, I still can't understand how Victor Osimhen is plying his trade in Istanbul. For me, that's just baffling because
he gets paid a lot of money with the tax benefits, but
I know,
think
but
he's treated like an absolute legend there, mate. You know, did you see they had a tifo, and then they did like a second tifo that came down over the top of it for because his mum passed away. And so they sort of like they managed the fans got together, did a giant fucking flag for his mum, and he cried his eyes out apparently in the as the because his mum, you know, obviously his mum passed and stuff, so emotional moment for him. Fucking legend, like he's a fucking player, mate. He's like
in the air, mate.
So good. He's such a good fucking striker.
Saying that he didn't score, but he did tee up Mario Lemina for their goal. I would say normally you would say going back to Anfield, Liverpool are nailed on for this, but Liverpool's home form has just been, it's been there.
I think Liverpool have got a really tough game on Wednesday. It's straight away, isn't it? It's straight away. It's not. There's no weekday.
Yeah, actually, I think it might be Tuesday their game. Let me check.
Oh yeah, it will be. Sure. No, it will be Wednesday because they played Tuesday last time.
Oh yeah, yes, right, true. Yeah, so it'd be Wednesday. It'd be next Wednesday
night, right?
Yeah,
I think you could genuinely find that PSG get through, Galatasaray get through, Atletico Madrid get through, Real Madrid get through, Barcelona get through. I mean, and shocks have happened, but I say Arsenal will get past Leverkusen because they'll get them. So all of a sudden you go from six teams of 16 to one team of 8.
Yeah. I think
maybe the Premier League ain't all that. Maybe the Premier League isn't all that after all. You know.
Listen, look, there's 3 that are in it. They're still in it, in my opinion. Newcastle, you never know what could happen if they turn up. You know, my player started up front for Newcastle on the weekend. The one I talked about the end of last season, beginning of this one, Osula, the Danish boy. Really like him. But that's going to be a tough one. Liverpool obviously still in it at 1-0. And obviously I think Arsenal will walk through. But no, it's going to be an interesting one. Who haven't we done? Which other one haven't we done? Let's do Arsenal, obviously. Robert Odwich, the captain who got booked early on, beating Arsenal at their own game with a header, Sean.
Yeah.
You know, they're normally the ones that, you know, do that. But let's be honest, Arsenal were very poor in this game. Bukayo Saka really couldn't get into the game. He really couldn't. He was subbed on. I think it was about 70 minutes. I can't remember. Martinelli was probably their biggest threat most of the time. But I think the game changed for me when Noni came on. You know, he's very direct, you know, running with the ball. I wish he was still at our club. Somehow we managed to let him go. Yeah, Saka went off after 60 minutes for Noni. And Kai Havertz came on for Gyökeres. Kai Havertz, that's his first time returning in 6 years to Bayer Leverkusen, the club that he came from originally before he went off to Chelsea. And I thought the goal that was scored was really soft. The penalty was soft. Malik Tillman,
absolute disgrace.
Malik Tillman, who we're a big fan of, that we speak about a lot. I thought it was really soft. Shock horror. Martin Keown, very unbiased. Thought it was a stonewall penalty.
It was like, and then the female presenter said, "Yeah, but Martin, if the boot was on the other foot, you know, how would you feel if you were a defender and then someone got a penalty?" He goes, "Oh, but the boot wasn't on the other foot. The boot wasn't on the other foot. We're talking about the Arsenal side." He's even admitting in his commentary. No. Don't ask me to be impartial. It's clearly an Arsenal penalty. The guy is absolutely outrageous. Arsenal fans are shameless. I mean, listen, the one thing, Johnny, I know that some Arsenal fans won't care, right? And I know the history books won't remember, but I don't think any non-Arsenal fan is going to allow Arsenal to enjoy their success that they're about to have. And I think because of the unbelievable bias that has been demonstrated towards decisions that have gone their way throughout the season, right? It's like it's indisputable that they have got the lion's share of decisions going their way. And as much as some Arsenal fans will go like, boo-hoo, you're all salty, it will wind them right up that nobody gives them the full credit of a purist victory because A, they played fucking dog shit, like absolute haramble the entire season to do it. And secondly, they have relied on an unbelievable amount of gimmies on both sides in so many important games. So many.
Yeah.
The list
Look against us. Look against us. One of them.
The list you could pick, like you randomly do this on a calendar, put your finger down. The nearest game, if you go and watch the highlights, you'll see a 50-50 that went Arsenal's way, or not even a 50-50, like a 60-40 that should have gone the other way. And
Gabriel, like the Gabriel one, there's loads of them. But things like this, Radio Birdman, right? Spurs fans saying Arsenal are only top of the Premier League is weak. That's the case. The Premier League has been weak enough for Spurs to win in 65 years. You're not actually listening to what we're saying. We're not saying that Arsenal are top because the Premier League is weak. What we're saying is the Premier League's quality of football has been weak, right? And it's
the game has become football. The game has become more robotic. The game has become more insufferable. It's not like if you're a neutral right now, and like if you live in like Jamaica and you like soccer, you like football, and you want to dial in and you've got all of the European fixtures to watch, European games across all leagues. If you want a good game of open attacking appropriate football, you're probably not going to pick an English game. You're probably not.
Spanish games would be better.
Spanish games are more fun. German games are more fun. It's even Italian football. God forbid. I never watch Italian football because it's so boring. But even that's more open play right now. And I think that I'm not saying that Arsenal are the only people that are doing it.
They're top because Arsenal are top because they deserve to be top because they are top, right? But you can still complain about the level of football, right? It's not being salty. Look. Spurs are shit because we're shit. We know we're shit. We know why we're shit. Okay, that's it. We've
and by the way, I'm not even like having a crack at Arsenal because they're Arsenal. If the same thing was happening, if it was Manchester United or if it was anyone else, I'd be saying the same thing. Like I just think it's not even up for debate whether or not Arsenal get the lion's share of 50-50s. And the Arsenal score most of their goals through set pieces, and they have bought in and redefined what football is this season in order to get the job done. Congratulations to them. Fair play to them for getting the job done. But there are consequences to actions, and the consequences are that football purists, people that are neutrals, are going to dial out. There's a reason why, like the attendances in the Premier League are the lowest they've ever been. And it's because, like, it's not just because at Tottenham we're shitting. No one wants to go and watch Tottenham lose every week. Same Liverpool. Liverpool have had sold out stadiums for like 40 years. Like you can get tickets to Liverpool games more easily now than you ever could. And Liverpool aren't like Liverpool are 4th or 5th or 6th or whatever. Right? Liverpool are still in and amongst the kind of European pursuit. It's a combination of the economy being shit, everyone having a little bit less money, but also the football just doesn't justify the day out. It's not enjoyable. And Arsenal participate in that more than most. Now, you guys, Arsenal fans, will get the trophy at the end of the season, and congratulations to them. But I think what's going to be funny is that I don't believe that Arsenal fans are going to appreciate the fact that non-Arsenal fans are going to be saying the only reason that you won is because of A, B, and C, and Arsenal fans won't like that. They're not going to get you're not going to be given your full flowers, right? You're going to be given a couple of you're not going to get your full 12 roses, mate. You might get 10, you might get 8, you might get 4, but you're not going to get a dozen roses. Sorry, mate. It's just not how it works. It's not how it works. If you want to play haramble and also rely on 50-50s going your way more often than not, then you're not going to get your full flowers from people that appreciate football in a different lens.
I give them flowers, though, for being the absolute top of the league, for the dark arts, managing to manipulate referees, managing to work the fourth official, how to work every aspect of the game. The arts, how they dive, how they fall, how they scream when they get the ball. I mean, I didn't think that was a penalty. Maybe because I'm a Spurs fan. I looked online.
Johnny, it wasn't a fucking penalty, mate. It wasn't a penalty. Come on
many didn't think it was a penalty. Like across the board, I had to take my hat off, my Spurs hat off, and say, was it was it a pen? You know, but Arsenal are still going to win it. Sean, let's talk about the fairy tale team, about the fairy tale team of the Champions League and the team I'm going to be supporting from here on in. I've been supporting them through this stage. They lost their first 6 games of the Champions League. Well, they didn't win in the first 6, should I say. And those last minute wins that saw them go through.
Bodo, yeah.
What they're doing now is quite incredible. Quite incredible. Let's hope that they can do it. But to beat Sporting, I've still got my scarf. There you go. I've still got my Bodo scarf from where we were when we were there last year.
Yeah.
The boys scored again.
Over there.
They scored again, didn't they? What's his name? I keep forgetting his name. Hoga scored again.
Unbelievable team, mate. Unbelievable team. Listen, they got a manager called Nutson, right? Which is what I wanted to do into Helga. Had I been given a chance, you know, but didn't work out. But listen, I love Bodo. I love the town, the city, whatever. I love that trip. I will always support them like you because they're the perennial underdog, but they are perennially disrespected. Teams go there and think that they can, you know. I said this before, Johnny. Like this, people think it's settled science, right? You always want to have the home leg second. You always want to have the home leg second in the European fixture. And so, you know, like that's it, right? So you go away the first leg. You protect yourself. You kind of sit deep. You try and nick a goal, whatever. But you get the job done. Then you come take it back to your place, second leg, and you win. There are certain teams that I don't think you want to go away from home first, because the game can be put to bed before you get them back to your own place. And I think that Bodo are one example. I think Brugge are another example. I think Galatasaray are an example. Fenerbahce are an example. You don't necessarily want to go to their place first because you can be out of the game before you bring them back. And I think that Sporting Lisbon are out of the game.
They disrespected. Look, I'll be honest with you. A lot of our own Spurs fans disrespected the result that Thomas Frank got at the beginning of the season when we played them. He was vilified. He was like, they were saying, like, it's an embarrassment. What we did, the draw we got at Bodo Glimt was an embarrassment. Do you remember that, Sean?
Yeah.
An embarrassment, right? It's turning out to be a bloody great result. I mean, they've beaten Sporting. They've beaten Atletico Madrid. They've beaten Inter Milan twice, home and away. They beat Man City, right? What he's done there is quite incredible. And they've earned more money than they could ever dream of in their lives. What they earned last year was the most they'd ever earned in the Europa League. Untold riches are coming their way, and that win.
If they get past Sporting, they'll get another 12 million quid, 11.5 million quid.
Yeah. Plus TV money.
To them, that's mad, mate. Mad money.
Mad money.
The problem is, like, how do you spend that money? If you're Bodo Glimt, can you go and convince a Premier League player to go and play in Norway? Can you go and convince a Spanish player to go and play in Norway?
I don't know. The problem is, look, there's 54,000 people live there. And when you and I bought these Bodo scarves and thought we'd go and sit in the home end and no one would notice us, we got spotted in 2 seconds without even speaking.
I came in going, hey, lads are on their way to Wilbur. Something's going to do.
Yeah, listen, they spotted us in 2 seconds. Like, you know, I said, no, we're Bodo fans. They go,
Sean, no. Sharp. Fuck them. Let's go. La, da, 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 da.
Yeah, we got thrown out. And put in the Spurs end. But listen, it was great stuff. But look, I hope they get through. Ask the question, Sean. When Arsenal beat the club by Leverkusen, and their next round is away at Bodo, what are you thinking? Can they do it? Can Bodo shock Arsenal if they beat Sporting?
Oh, well, they'll get Arsenal in the quarterfinals, will they?
Yeah, next round.
They could easily come back to Highbury, come back to the Emirates with a lead for sure. They could, but the pitch at Arsenal is far bigger. The Emirates pitch is like the Bodo pitch is small. It's very small.
Tiny.
Pitch, right?
Yeah.
The Emirates pitch is probably 20 meters wider. So they would probably need a 2-goal lead to be able to make it interesting. But they could.
I wonder whether or not, the weather. When did we go? We went later in the year, didn't we? When did we go?
We were there in April. It was still cold in April when we went, wasn't it?
Freezing cold and soaking wet.
Rain. Pissed with rain all day long.
And cold. And cold. I was soaked to the bone. So, look, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. It would be a fantastic story. It already is a fantastic story. But,
Bodo, do you think Bodo will get past Sporting? I don't think Sporting have got enough in them to get 3 goals at home.
3-0. Listen, it will be a tense atmosphere there, but I can't.
They travel well, mate. They travel well.
I can't see it. Last but not least, we'll do them very quickly. Bayern Munich, 6-1 winners against Atalanta. I never saw this coming, I've got to be honest with you. 6-1 away. They'll probably rest a lot of players.
Yeah, that's done.
Yeah, that's a done deal. Bayern Munich comfortable. And Harry Kane. Harry Kane didn't even play, did he?
No.
If I remember rightly. No, he didn't play. Stayed on the bench, saving him. Probably wasn't very happy with that.
Fuming. He's probably sitting there going, fuck's sake, I could have scored 5 goals tonight.
Could have scored 5, could have scored a few.
He's about to sign a new monster contract with Bayern Munich.
Last conversation before we go. Guys, if you're in the chat, please hit the like button. We haven't asked you all day. And if you're here for the first time, please tell us where you're from and hit the subscribe button. Loads of you watch there, hundreds, thousands of you watch. And don't hit the subscribe. It doesn't cost any money. And don't forget our sponsor, OK Jersey. If you go onto their site and use the code FINC, you'll get an extra 8% discount. Last thing, Sean, I just want to talk about the fact that Igor Tudor is still at the club. Do you think it's tenable that he could possibly stay there at the club when it's obvious now that the players, if they weren't behind Thomas Frank and they weren't behind half the managers that have been there, they're definitely not behind this guy after what he did to Kinski. Rumours coming out of the Athletic that players have said, or a player has said he doesn't care, he's leaving. I don't really listen much to that because, as I said to you before, there are 3 players who are already out of contract come the summer. Paulinho, who hasn't signed, he's on loan. Same with Kolo Muani, and Basuma is on a balloon contract. His contract ends at the end of the summer. So, does he survive? Should he have gone? And is it really a shock that players have already checked out?
Sorry, mate. Which players have checked out?
Spurs players.
I was just looking at something else. Igor Tudor going. Listen, I think Igor Tudor has to go because he's fucked it. But
should he have gone? Should he have gone by now?
Well, you have to have someone to come in.
Yeah.
And this is the argument. This is the thing, right? Like, it goes all the way back to September. Daniel Levy, right? The club staged a coup. I know it's not a technical coup because they were the owners, but they basically staged a coup to get rid of the guy who was the glue that held everything together, and they had no plan. Or the plan that they do have is just absolutely comically inept, and they've just gone from like, I mean, Matt Law comes out yesterday with an article that was so obviously a plant from the Tottenham football, like the PR team.
100%.
Like, you saw it, the first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, the way they said, it was Johan Lang and Vinay. Well, they hired Igor Tudor. They were the people that wanted Thomas Frank to be sacked. Like, the way it was written, like, I'm not a genius, mate. I'm not even that intelligent, but like, you don't have to be anything above average IQ to be able to sit there and go, that is written like he's been given a story, Make sure that you fucking put these words in, and we'll continue to feed you new information in the future. Put
You
these
PR
words,
girl, right? You PR girl.
the PR communication girl from was it Arsenal, the communications chief from Arsenal, whatever her name is. It's so obvious. It's so obvious that it's a planted story. But I don't know what's worse, Johnny. Like, if I'm Johan Lang and Vinay, you don't come out of this, whichever PR spin is going on, you don't come out looking good. You come out looking like a fucking idiot, both of you. But I'm not sure. I spoke about this yesterday. I actually think I would rather the story be that I was overruled on Igor Tudor. I was overruled on Thomas Frank. That I had my opinion, stick with Thomas Frank, and the non-footballing people said, no, we're not going to listen to you anymore. Because at least then you can say, well, what am I supposed to do? Right? I'm the footballing guy, and the non-footballing people are telling me we disagree, we're going to go in a different direction. And then they go back to the guy that has left, and in his exit interview has said, my ideas weren't listened to, and then we're going to go and get his guy, which has come in and been a catastrophe. That was the story that we spoke about it. We were told about it from sources. That was the story a month ago. Now the plant is actually, it was those two that decided to sack Thomas Frank, and it was those two that decided to bring in Igor Tudor, even though we know that Igor Tudor was recommended by Paratici 4 months ago.
Months ago.
Even if the planted story is true, these two are now saying that they decided to change their tact on Thomas Frank, and that they went after the idea that the guy that they vetoed every other time, that the last thing that he suggested, let's go and get his guy, they bring him in under their idea. It's now their idea, borrowing the guy that they forced outside idea, and then that hasn't worked. Like, it doesn't matter. Either way, Vinay and Johan Lang look like fucking morons. The
whole board is, look, mate,
which version, Johnny, which version of moronity do you want to be? Do you want to be the moron that was overruled by people that are non-football people, or do you want to be the moron that got it wrong several times? I'd rather be the guy that was overruled rather than the guy that got it wrong every time. So they've chosen to plant a story that makes them look worse, in my opinion.
Mate, this is the board. This is a board, right, that marched Daniel Levy out the club, not thinking for 1 minute, a man who controlled every string of the instrument, when they slashed the strings, that the whole link came tumbling down. Plan A was Morgan Gibbs-White and Eze. Failed. 3 fails, ended up with Xavi Simons, who was not plan A, wasn't plan B, wasn't plan C, wasn't plan D, plan E, right? Then we go with Thomas Frank. We don't know how many other managers we done a due diligence and we searched through so many managers before we arrived at Thomas Frank, right? Thomas Frank didn't work. They didn't have a plan B. The plan B was like a quick reaction. They didn't even work out that that Igor Tudor might not be able to get his assistant. Igor Tudor has had his assistant at every club. They got rid of Matty Wells. Matty Wells has gone. Mason has gone. Heitinger didn't even want to stay around. So this guy, Igor Tudor, has come in. There's no coaches. And for the first time in his whole career, he doesn't have his assistant coach. He's blowing his own whistle. He's doing everything for a bunch of players who checked out months ago, right? And it's a shock that this hasn't worked, right? They can't sack him because they ain't got a clue. They're probably reading the newspapers going, oh, let's hold a poll. Which manager would best appease the fans? Which manager could maybe keep these fans?
It wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me, Johnny, if they are actually looking at fan polls. Listen, for what it's worth, Johnny, I have never been more convinced in my fucking life that my content and our content and other people's content that I see is being watched, and then those things are being reacted to.
So can 100%. Can I tell you, when I got to my hotel on Monday, I was going out for lunch, and a couple of guys approached me and they said, "Oh, how you doing, Johnny? Nice to see you. What's your stuff?" Okay. And see your walkout videos. And I'm chatting away to them. I said, see you later. I didn't realize until after. I thought I'd seen him. I was staying in there with all the Spurs the people, all the Spurs people, not the management, right? All the people that work for the club. So when I came back in after the game, I realised that he was telling me, I'll watch your content. The other guy was saying, I thought that they were just Spurs fans who watch my content. They were Tottenham people watching my content, right?
Right.
And after the game, I got back to the hotel and I saw them all sitting down for a bit of dinner. And I've gone up to them all. There was about 20 of them all sat down on a table. And I asked any of them, guys, any injuries? Any injuries in the game tonight that you'd be able to make it through the meal? It was like taking the piss, right? But there's a bit of banter. My point here is they watch, Sean.
No, it's 100%. Like, it's
100%.
100%. The amount
not
of people,
even in doubt now.
Not even in doubt. The amount of people that reach out to me and say, like, they know this person and that person. There was a guy who put a super chat the other day who was talking about Simon Jordan. Like, that's actually entirely relevant, but like the amount of anecdotal evidence that I've seen, and it, like, the fact that you get these planted stories, they're so obviously planted stories that are out there to nip in the bud any idea, any iteration, any concept that some of the stuff that we speculate on. I'm not just talking about me and you, but like people in the the podcast world, you see these stories that get around, right? The PGMOL thing for me was the final straw, because I've been noticing it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and then the PGMOL thing, as soon as that happened, I was like, these fucking people, they are more.
We were going on about
they are
it,
more
right?
dialed in now to the social media zeitgeist, whether it's coming from Spurs Talk Show, Football Inc., Savage Channel, We Are Tottenham, whatever it is, right? Or Last One on Spurs, whatever. But people they are 100% listening to the social zeitgeist and then reacting to that via media plants, via actions that the club are taking. 100%.
Because look, I've had my bee in my bonnet about the PGMOL for ages. We've spoken about the decisions on here countless times. Why isn't the club doing something about it? Why is it Arsenal compiled a report and sent a lawyer's letter with all the incidences that have taken place and how it's affected them? But, look, they watch, they take note. A lot of it, they probably...
well, they don't act in the right way, mate. What they do... Instead of like listening and going, actually, if they're listening, and listen, I'm not saying that we're, again, not me specifically or you specifically, but that the general theories that get parked around.
Mate, they watch the shows.
If they watch and they know that we're onto it, right, rather than actually putting in place procedures to fix the things that we've uncovered as being obviously part of the truth, rather than going, okay, the fans are getting influenced, like the fans know what's really going on. Rather than fixing the problem, they'd rather go and plant messages with journalists to try to steer the zeitgeist back to a dishonest path. Like, for example, Matt Law. We know Matt Law 100%, mate. 1 million. Like, I would, if someone put a gun to my head right now and said, is half of his stories a plant that come from people at the club, right? And I know the truth. Pick yes or no. Pick an answer. And if you get it right, then you live. If you get it wrong, you die. I would say yes, pull the trigger. Because I know that he is a fucking plant, right? His stories are plants. 100%. 1 million. I've no question about that.
He likes it, but before, I think under Daniel Levy, he wasn't. I think under the new board, he is. But before, he was a mixer.
They fit, not just him. Like,
he said we weren't going to spend a penny in the transfer window.
Yeah, he got that wrong.
No
He
money.
got that wrong. But I'm not talking about him specifically. Sorry, what I should have said was people like him. David Ornstein was one I think was given a plant as well, right? Because people go, who's the most respected journalist? Who's the guy that gets the... everyone listens to what someone says. Fabrizio Romano on transfers, when Ornstein talks, they're using the Athletic now. Jay Harris's thing today, clearly, absolutely fucking clearly, part of a plant, right? To do,
but we could say that, Sean. Like, the thing is, It's such a poor story. It's such a poor story. I could make that story up and post that on my feed and say, there is a player at Spurs who says he's already checked out and he's already leaving.
Of course.
When we know there's three players that are checked out anyway. Paulinho, Muwani, and Basuma.
Of course, but what's the ultimate end game? What's the ultimate end game? Is to redirect the conversation away from, are the decision makers at Tottenham just completely incompetent, or shall we redirect the conversation to a broader spectrum, which is the players aren't doing their job, the players aren't buying, and you've got let's shift some of the attention away from Vinay, away from Johan Lang, away from Joe Lewis and Charrington and all that lot. Let's get some of the attention back in this direction. It's not rocket science. It's a game of chess, right? Because people's attention can only go in one direction for so long. And to me, like, these journalists are, like, it's part of the game. It's the same in politics, mate. You know, you feed a story here, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I'll give you the exclusive as long as you make sure you say what I want to be said, right? There's certain governments, there's certain politicians, there's certain things. It happens in every country. There's certain, it's a way of manipulating the masses and the minds of the masses, right? Because not everyone not everyone has the capacity to think that multiple things are happening at the same time. And we see it in the Tottenham fan base. Like last week, it was 2 days ago, it was Kinski's the problem. Last week, it was Van der Ven. The week before that, it was Romero. The week before that, it was someone else. Right?
It's this gob, but they all watch it, Sean. Like the guy, when I got back to the hotel, 2 of the guys came up to me and they said, "Has your video gone up yet?" Right? So they knew who I was. I didn't even know who they were. Right? I didn't know that they were 2 of the other guys. The other guy came up, really nice guys. If you're watching, guys, lovely to meet you, right? But what I'm saying is, when I had the phone call last season from people at Spurs about some of my content, yeah? Do you remember? I got a call and, I spoke to them, what have you. I had no idea that they watched any of the content. Maybe I was obviously naive just to thinking that, I'm just a sort of small guy it's out there, one of thousands and thousands of fans. But they are out there watching this channel and many other channels, many other content people. And but what I don't understand is if you are watching, right, you're not taking any note of what we're saying here and doing something about it. Because right here, we've got a manager who, for the first time in our club's history, just when you think there couldn't be another record broken, we have a manager that's lost his first 4 games, likely to lose his first 5 games on the trot. We're breaking every record. Who'd have thought after last season's debacle in the league that we could possibly break those records? It's madness. And that's the first time we broke Champions League records on Tuesday. This club is beset by problems. Look, I'll be honest with you, Sean, right? I've never asked for it, but I feel like the Spurs fans should have got a refund for that Madrid game. Honestly, I really do. Right? I mean, it was a debacle, mate. It was an absolute debacle, that first 20 minutes. Well, we came there in our thousands, but they don't care. Where's the apology to what the fans are going through now? Where's the communication? Where's Vinay's communication? We understand the fans' concern. You know what we got?
Well, they've expanded the season ticket renewal.
Oh, date. Yeah. But some people in the premium got a notification that their premium seats have gone up 5%. I mean, are you mad? Are you reading the room? You're putting the prices up 5.
Well, have they also extended the deadline on that?
Well, I'm not sure. They probably asked for that already. I'm paying nothing at the moment. I'm paying nothing at the moment.
You paid for it a long time ago, didn't you?
But what I'd like to know is, if we go down, which is looking more and more likely, are they really going to freeze ticket prices because we're going to have more games of football?
No, they'll reduce the ticket prices. Of course they will. They're going to have to. For what it's worth, I saw there was an interesting YouTube channel that does Football Manager simulations. And
All
he said, he goes, Tottenham get relegated, and I took over Tottenham after in the Championship, and I rebuilt them. And within 3 seasons, he got them to he got Tottenham
relegation
from relegation to winning the Premier League and the Champions League. So if life was like Football Manager, mate, it would be unbelievable. I'll be absolutely unbelievable. But listen, we got to go. We've got this super chat to do.
Hang on. Let's just do this, right? Sean, could you just play it? I've got it. I sent it to you on on your WhatsApp group, the video. Can you get it up?
On what WhatsApp group? On Spurs Talk Show?
No, on me news personal one. I sent you this video that he's talking about. Just got to play a short clip of it.
Which one is it? Richarlison after he views the football, gives up on football.
Yeah. Have a look at this.
Hang on.
You got to watch this, guys. Very, very funny. Absolutely hilarious. Here he's coming up.
And then I've got to go for dinner.
Yeah.
There we go.
Me too, mate. Here he comes. Where is he coming? If that ain't Richarlison, he's
sensational.
Sensational. He's even got the parrot. The
done very well. All right, guys, pick up to you, whole Spurs. Thank you very much indeed for that super chat. Guys, we're going to leave it there. Appreciate everyone for stopping by. We'll be back
tomorrow. Predicciones. If you want to be the person who does the predictions for the weekend's games, come in tomorrow and you can choose the scores. It's closing up. It's getting close. Is it? I will. Well, it is, Sean. It is. I'm closing in.
You're closing in on the second team. I'm pulling back.
Yeah, we haven't done the scores from last week, I don't think. Right, let's go.
Tomorrow. Then we're back to Johnny and I will be on Spurs 5 at 8 p.m. With Sarah from the stands. Sarah, who's from Spurs from the stands. So I would imagine there's a first time we're bringing a lady onto the stream that is going to be a little bit less chaotic, a little bit more respectful. But you know what?
Lady.
Her best laid plans. I spoke about this yesterday with her. You know, she was in the chat. I was like, listen, we're going to go easy. She said, don't go easy. I was like, all right, then, fuck it.
Yeah.
So we got some contemplations to contemplate.
Yes.
We appreciate you all.
Are we going to have to be PC, Sean?
You can be, mate. I don't give a fuck. I'm getting cancelled at some point anyway, so...
No, I've never been PC. I don't intend on starting now. Guys, thanks very much for watching. We couldn't do it without you. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe button if you're here for the first time. And we look forward to, if you're a Spurs fan, we'll see you on the Spurs 5 at 8 o'clock, even though it's showing at the moment that the show's on at 5 p.m.
No, it's been changed. I've changed it. I've changed it. My bad.
All
right,
guys.
We'll see you at 8 o'clock. Take care, everyone.
If you're footballing, see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from him.
Bye.
Bye.